All right, so let's start with the big story that we are tracking on WION at this hour. The American President Donald Trump has put up a long social media post saying the final determination is about to be made on an Iran deal in his Situation Room. The meeting is a pre-planned one, but Trump's long post has raised eyebrows on whether there is the possibility of a breakthrough pretty soon. In this very lengthy Truth Social post, Trump has outlined key conditions, including Iran permanently giving up its nuclear ambitions, reopening the Strait of Hormuz to unrestricted shipping, and also destroying its highly enriched uranium stockpiles under international supervision. Trump also claims that the U.S. will help remove and destroy the buried enriched nuclear material from the sites that it bombed in last year's B-2 bomber strikes alongside Iran and the International Atomic Energy Agency. He's further added that no money will change hands until further notice. In the post, he also mentioned the lifting of the U.S. naval blockade in the region, allowing commercial ships that are stuck near the Strait of Hormuz to begin returning home. The strait remains one of the world's most critical oil shipping routes. But though Trump sees this as a plan in progress, Iran's leadership has struck a hardline tone. Iran's Fars agency has reported that Iran rejects Donald Trump's comments about any possible agreement with Iran as a mixture of truth and falsehood. Reuters quoted an Iranian official and has said that the possible MOU between Tehran and Washington does not include any nuclear-related issues. Iran has reportedly stressed that after the U.S. blockade is lifted, it will reopen the Strait of Hormuz according to its own predetermined arrangements. The high-stakes diplomacy comes amidst growing regional tensions. Now all eyes are on the White House Situation Room, where Trump says the final decision for a possible Iran deal could be made pretty soon. All right, now joining us on the broadcast from Tehran, we've got Ilham Abedini. She's an Iranian journalist and an international relations expert. She's currently working as a news editor at the IRIB news agency, the Islamic Republic of Iran Broadcasting. Ma'am, thank you very much indeed, Ms. Abedini, for joining us here on WION. So this is a post that Donald Trump put out on his Truth Social, saying that he is in the Situation Room and he expects to make a decision one way or another. And he's also listed the three demands. That is, Iran should give up its nuclear ambitions, Iran must reopen the Strait of Hormuz without any conditions, and all enriched uranium should be destroyed with the help of international observers being present. Now, the Iranians have responded and said that this is a mixture of truth and falsehood. What is the Iranian position on this? Because these are demands that Donald Trump has stuck with right from the beginning.
Thank you for having me. Actually, the position of Iran is fixed, I think. And from the very first step, Iran always emphasized that what are the positions of Iran about the Strait of the Hormuz. The position of Iran is that the Strait of Hormuz is open for trade and also tankers, trade ships and tankers, and we are ready for opening the Strait of Hormuz completely like before of this war. But the issue is that the management of a Strait of Hormuz should be decided by Iran and also with Oman. And this is the only two countries who can decide about the management of Strait of Hormuz. And the reason for this issue is that the United States use this Strait of Hormuz for building and making its bases, military bases, and using them against of Iran. So I think the most important issue about the Strait of Hormuz and the Iran emphasis on management of this Hormuz is this issue because of managing and do not allowing they use this Strait of Hormuz to rebuilding these military bases. So this is the important issue. And the second issue is about uranium. I think the issue is that the United States tried to make image of victory because Iran every time, always for decades, emphasized that we do not want a nuclear weapon.
Right.
And now the United States try to say Iran do not want a nuclear weapon and sell it as an image of victory. And this is the issue that Iran every time emphasize on that.
All right.
And the last thing is about enriching uranium, and this is the thing that Iran said that we are the only country that can decide about how we can use this uranium.
All right, interesting. Now, do continue to be with us because there are some interesting things that are being said here, where there is now an official statement that's been put out by the Iranian Foreign Ministry, which has said that there is still no final agreement on the deal with the United States of America. This statement has come as Donald Trump is reportedly sitting in his Situation Room. It'll be interesting to see as to who are the advisors that he's sitting down with as he's contemplating on a decision in one way or another. So this is the Iranian rebuttal to what Donald Trump, of course, has put out as a part of his social media post on Truth Social. Ms. Abedini, on the one side, we have these talks, we have these statements that are being put out by the leaders. But on the other, you have stuff that is actually happening on the ground, where in the last 4 or 5 days, the Americans say that they've carried out, this is how they frame it, defensive strikes on Iranian military positions. Now, how do you read this situation? There cannot be strikes during negotiations unless the negotiations are going in the wrong direction and are not resulting towards some kind of a settlement. Do you see that this negotiation has a chance to succeed because both sides have got their pretty well-defined positions?
I think that Iran is really mistrust to the United States because at least 2 times we are targeted by the United States during the negotiation. So this is the first important thing, that we are ready completely for a war, and we do not these kind of targeting and these kind of thing as a defending operation by the United States, as they claim. And I think these are, specifically, these are striking, and these are offensive operation, not defensive as CENTCOM said. So, but I think Iran is completely emphasizing that we are committed to diplomacy and we are trying our best to make negotiations. But I think the United States do not want this diplomacy, and these are because of the pressure of Israeli and also the Zionist lobbyists who are really powerful in the United States, and they do not want to make any deal and agreement. So I think the chance for any agreement is so low, I think, in this, actually in this phase at least.
All right, my quick final question to you is this. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, the former supreme leader of Iran, was someone who was completely against the acquisition of nuclear weapons. He had passed a fatwa saying that Iran should not acquire a nuclear weapon because it is a weapon that can kill indiscriminately. But considering what has happened in the last 2-3 months and a new leadership that has taken over in Iran, do you think Iran could now potentially move forward to becoming some kind of a nuclear power? Because a lot of people have pointed out at the North Korean model. No one messes with the North Koreans precisely because they've got a nuclear weapon. And the reason why Iran is being attacked again and again is because it is a nuclear threshold state and not a nuclear state. In your assessment, this war by the Americans and the Israelis, do you think this will push Iran to now acquire a nuclear weapon?
There is a huge pressure from public opinion of Iran and even some officials of Iran to achieving nuclear weapon. And this is the reality of today's situation of Iran. But at the final step, I think this fatwa would not change. And still, the supreme leader of Iran is actually following the nuclear weapon, but the important issue is about enrichment, the right of enrichment uranium inside of Iran, and also possession of enrichment uranium is still the rights of Iran, and Iran would keep that.
All right, interesting. Thank you very much indeed, Ms. Abdini, for joining us from Tehran and getting us that perspective there.